Yes, guys, welcome back to the Carib AM show here on Tropics 105.5 FM. It's time for us to, to get into this whole relationship bucket.
Diving in the bucket?
Diving into the bucket. All right, SMG, shake up the bucket.
All right, let me go.
Shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. All right, let me see one. All right, let me see. Take this one.
Oh.
There we go. Oh, it's two. Okay.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, looks like a good one.
Okay. How to tell your partner you're not fulfilled or not in love with them anymore.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, I know how you're not supposed to do it.
Do not write it on a Post-it.
Don't write it on a Post-it, first of all. Also, don't message them. I think that this is a discussion that you should have with them in person, and just so that you can at least give it a little bit more of like finesse, because I feel like if you have I don't oh my gosh,
use your heart eyes,
and you feel like maybe you're not into your partner anymore, you need to go through yourself and you need to figure out, is this like a sometimes something? Is this like something that recently started happening? And if so, like, did this start from a specific point? Like, did it just did it just happen out the blue? Or, is it something that they started doing that you just don't like? Maybe, it's not the case.
Maybe you're starting to evolve as a person and you're not matching up with each other anymore.
Yeah. Sometimes, like that evolution doesn't always hit with both partners, especially if maybe like one of you is going to therapy and the other one isn't. So a lot of times you have that, where it's like, okay, well, you're not really growing with me in the direction that I want to grow into, and it's not always easy. It's not easy at all, because you're dealing with a human, you're dealing with somebody that has emotions, you're dealing with, you're bonded. Some of you have like, homes that are now like, united. So you probably have to break up with them, and then you got stuff like moving. And then you have that transition period where you're like, oh, maybe I still want to be with that person, but then you don't. It's very tough. It's very tough. It's not something that you're going to be able to say, well, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to be with you. Some people do. Some people do, because I guess maybe they've just, been in that space.
Oh, they've processed it enough.
And they've processed it enough, that's a thing. But it's crazy, because, I mean, you can know why you want to leave your partner. And I think that once you've made up your mind, staying is a little cruel to them, like you don't want to stay and be like, oh, well, I'm gonna ride it out, I'm gonna tough it out just because I don't want to hurt them. But staying in a situation where you're not happy, and that person is probably actively trying to fulfill something or make it work with you, that can be a little intense. And you don't want that to be the case. You don't want to be in a relationship where you're feeling stuck. You don't want to be in a situation where you're actively shutting your energy off from that person, because even if you think that they can't, a lot of times that they can feel it. And you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be like the person who's like, causing them emotional distress, because sometimes what'll happen is it's like, oh, it's my fault and I don't know what I'm doing wrong and blah, 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 blah. But you need to actively decide, okay, this, and this. You need to have 3 solid reasons. A minimum of 3. That's how I see it. 3 solid reasons. And depending on the amount of time that you've been with that person, if half of the time you've been with them, you've been unhappy, then I think that maybe it's time that, you guys can, you can decide, hey, let's go our separate ways. Let's not do this. I want to say don't force the blame on them, because sometimes it's just you. It's like, listen, I'm growing in a specific direction, and I thought that this is what I wanted, but it isn't, or I thought that, I would really be able to like hold on to this forever, but it's not making the grade. It's not making me feel like I want to do this, for a long period of time, so it's just, you gotta be a little easy with it, and the 3 points that you have should surround you and not just them negatively. Like, hey, I actively want this from my partner, and I've been like, you also have to know, like, did you go into this blindly? Did you just start feeling it? Did you communicate your feelings to them before? Not just, oh, let me pull back or let me start ghosting them and let me not talk to them about this because I just don't feel like I don't want to get into this, and I don't want it to be messy. So I'm just gonna decide not to interact with them. That's not the way to do it. You know, you have to verbally tell them, you have to give them a couple of warnings at least, because you don't know if maybe they don't even know that they're not fulfilling you.
Yeah.
You know, talk to them about it, make it an open discussion, and not just where you're how you say, you're attacking them, you know, emotionally. You gotta be very sensitive about it, because you don't want to be a trash person and it's like, I'm just gonna ghost you, or I'm gonna pull away, and then you're gonna figure out that I'm not happy. You need to actively engage with the person. You need to talk to them. You need to give them a little bit of a heads up, because again, we don't tend to communicate enough for these partners that we have. And then what we do is we kind of just like, oh, well, you're not making me happy, so I'm gone. Did you give me the opportunity to make you happy? Did you tell me that you weren't happy? Did you actively say this? I usually give people like 2 verbal warnings, and then the third time it's like, okay, no, I don't want to do this. I do this with everybody though, whether it's me, whether it's my kid, whether it's like, you know, a romantic partner. I give you 3 strikes. I will verbally warn you once, twice, and then the third time it's like, okay, no, now you're making this a habit and you're not actively listening to me as a person. And that is something that I don't tolerate in terms of just my energy, the people around me, the space that I'm in. So hopefully, you know, you can figure out how to bring this across to your partner. You have been open, clear, and communicative with them, and you've given them the opportunity to change and possibly get to that. Also, you know, sometimes your expectations might be a little unrealistic for the situation. Like, you can't expect that both of y'all in 2 struggle jobs, and then that person is going to be able to take you out for dinner, for $300 dinners every week or something. You know, these are things we also need to realize. But hopefully, you know, again, take their feelings into consideration, because you're not trying to create a monster for the next person, because that is, oh my gosh, that's the worst. Dealing with someone who's been hurt actively by someone else is the pits. We don't want to be dealing with your garbage. I don't want to be dealing with the zombies you created. No, thank you. So, in any case, if you feel like you are unfulfilled with your partner, if you have given them that verbal, talk twice, at least twice, maybe 3 times, if you feel like maybe you need to season the conversation, then you can talk to them. You can say, okay, listen, we've talked about this, and you're not making that change. And I think that maybe we need to just separate and go our separate ways, or we need to just not do this anymore, you know? And that happens. You can be open, you can be honest, and you can just do that as a grown-up, because that's what we're doing these days. We're communicating, we're being healthy emotionally, and we're making sure that we are not creating problems for other people to deal with. That's my take on that. That is my take. Anyway, guys, this is the Care of AM show here on Tropics 105.5 FM. Keep it locked, because when we get back, we've got a special guest. But yeah, we're going to do this. Care of AM show, Tropics 105.5 FM. Keep it locked.